attention turn to the FA Cup this weekend. Obviously, last season we had a decent run, some memorable moments, and hopefully, again, this season's the opportunity to do it all over again.
Yeah, I think that's the word, opportunity. I think it is an opportunity for us to progress in a competition. It's an opportunity to have some success. There's obviously some financial rewards along the way. I think when we as a group, not just me, but the collective first team group look at the FA Cup, it's an opportunity for our supporters. I think that's the biggest thing. We have a supporter base here that are desperate for success, and that is the cup competitions, the trophy competitions, the league opportunities at promotion, desperate for success. And I understand that, I really get that, and we feel it too. And it's matched by the individuals within that group and the group itself. What the FA Cup gives you is an opportunity to have some success in different forms. So we get how important it is for the supporters, and therefore it's really important for the club. My personal opinion is that it's more important this year than ever before for the football club. The players understand that, they're well aware of that, and it's an opportunity for us to showcase the best bits of what we do on the pitch, around the club, to have the opportunity, the television opportunity on Saturday as well, the televised game. It's really, really important for the club. So yeah, we'll be trying to create some memories. I think the target has got to be to make the final qualifying round. I think it has to be, because ultimately you're in those 2 rounds beforehand without any sides coming from a higher level. The aim, obviously, it's a lot further in it, the aspirations, but it's about Saturday. I think we got one of the worst possible draws. I think we would struggle to have many tougher draws in terms of the away game, the early kick-off, everything. I've been on the other side of that. We've played against the champions of this division when I was at a previous club. We know exactly what to expect. We know what the FA Cup's all about, all the cliches, and we'll be making sure we understand that come Saturday.
A word on the opposition, Step 5 opposition, Tadcaster, Albion, relegated last season. What can you say about them? What have you seen from them in the past couple of weeks since the draw came out?
We're prepared for the game the way that we prepare for every game. The same level of detail goes into it. The same focus and emphasis on types of performance, on stuff that makes us us. I've been there before. I've been there with Runcorn. I expect a really tough test. These are different games. They aren't like National League North games. They're away fixtures. The early kick-off, the television adds an even different dynamic to it. It's going to be a real struggle. And I think, like I say, to be drawn in this type of game where the emphasis will be on us to win the game, but the opposition will get loads of respect off me. And I've seen, obviously, for them, it's an opportunity to play against the side at a higher level. It's the FA Cup. They'll be full of belief, and we've got to match that, and we've got to hit our levels. So full of respect for the opposition, for how far they've come in the competition, and they will be playing us full of belief that they're going to beat us and that it's their place in the next round. We've got to match that desire, that intensity. We've got to know what the game is, and we've got to find a way to win. So, like I say, full of prep, done a lot of work, the same way that we did for Blythe, the same way we did for Hereford before that. All these games we prepare for the same way, and that's really important. So, committed to a performance that gets a result for the supporters in a competition that we want some success in.
Just a word on incomings, outgoings. We'll start with the outgoings. Obviously, Zach Goodson's left us on a permanent basis, rejoined Ilkeston Town this week, and you've had the likes as well of Louis Earle going out on loan, players that are out on loan at the minute gaining that experience, ready to come back in when the time's right.
Look, I get out it will look that a player that I really rate, that I do really rate, has joined the football club 10 weeks ago, and 10 weeks later have left the club on a permanent. I'll understand how that looks like. We've got on 2 other centre forwards out on loan. Here are the realities. It's not worked out the way that we wanted it to. When you go into management, I think you've got to be really clear about your principles, and my principles are that when I speak to you with a camera in front of me, or anyone else with a camera, is I'll be honest, and it's not worked. Not every bit of recruitment works out. I think some managers would say it does, and it's always everyone else's fault. It's not quite played out for a variety of reasons. Zach came to me prior to the Spennymoor game, wanting more minutes. We had a conversation, did some talking, did some listening, then wasn't in the squad for the Hereford game, and I think from that moment he sort of felt his future sort of lay elsewhere. He's had significant travelling. I think that really accentuates when you're not in the squad, to be travelling so far to do that. So we've had a load of really positive conversations and felt this is the best move for all parties. Once he's had the opportunity to go back somewhere where he's done really well, the geography's better, and probably is a better fit for him at this moment in time to get that football. There's nothing more to it. So leaves us possibly slightly light in forward areas, but just so bored about talking about forwards. It's getting really, really repetitive and like draining that we had last year a centre forward that scored a hatful of goals. Ultimately, those players, and they do that at our level, move up the pyramid the way Golda Mateo did, the way Mark Beck did in January, the way Connor Hall did, the way Kieran Phillips did. Those players, we might have even spoke to a few of them ourselves, you never know, to try and get that replacement in the summer. It's not easy, and historically we haven't had them. We haven't had an abundance of goal scoring centre forwards. But I'm really pleased with the business that we did in the summer, and really pleased to have secured Charlie Caton. I always think that doesn't seem to count for anything because he was here on loan. We made Charlie Caton one of our players, and he scored 2 in 3. Cole Hall and the goals that I believe he scored for us and will score again. But yeah, there's players out the building, isn't there? So Jake Burton, you can just tell he's not done a pre-season, and that isn't a fitness comment. That is from being in and out at different clubs. Joined us very late. We need to get him up to speed. Well, we're not full time. We don't have a reserve team programme. How do you do that? You can't. So you have to be brave enough to use the loan market. The way that Will Stanway got a year's football last season, playing week in, week out, and has come this season been our number one. Louis Earle did it last year. Obviously, he's gone out again to Bootle, where he did a month of Marine, came back and was in our team. That's how we have to find games for players that aren't in the plan at this immediate time. We've done it with Ollie Hayward in the past. Harrison Burke's done it previously before my time. That's where we're at the moment. So for Jake, we want him out getting games. We want him scoring goals and bringing up to speed so he can be an asset for us. He's not able to do that in a games programme where he's coming off the substitutes bench, and there isn't those, like I say, the alternative games programme. We've done the same with Zach Clark. Zach Clark's a player that loan spells didn't work out in the first half of last season. Had a really good loan spell at Flint. My concern, and I said this to Zach, was that the nature of the Welsh Premier League is that obviously the league splits in 2 in the January period. So his spell at Flint, he played 10 games. They played 10 games, I think he played in 8 of them, and they're all against the bottom half of the division. So we made a decision that we kept Zach in the summer. We would loan him back into that pyramid for obviously where Zach lives, the geography works. No coincidence that he didn't score at Leek, he didn't score at Clitheroe, he didn't score at Atherton Collieries. He's got ability, but the geography of those loans don't work, the equation isn't right. So when he's living where he lives in North Wales, to be able to get him to Carnarvon, that loan deal was agreed in July, and the workings of an international loan deal, out he goes. As and when it gets done, it's a bit frustrating, it's difficult to do. So he isn't in a place where we can recall him. It's an international loan, it's till January, but really pleased with the way he's started. So we have got forward options as and when we need them, but what we don't do is sort of panic when we make decisions for the longer term. We don't change sort of what we're doing short term. Louis Earle, same thing, not in our midfield at present, with the way minutes and the way I think players are playing well, and we're quite well stocked in those positions. We want him playing. We want him to be out playing games to ultimately be in a place that when the time's right, he can maximise minutes for us and maximise performance. We're always going to use that model, certainly while I'm the manager. So there will be outs. You've seen Nathan Woodthorpe doing so well for Marine. We have the 2 young goalkeepers out. We have Sol Ford out. We want lads playing. We don't want to carry big numbers. We want lads to be developing, as individuals, but for the group as well. So I really believe in what we've done with the 2 young forwards. Obviously, it's always disappointing when a signing you make that I thought would do well. But it isn't a panic. It's not a crisis. It's not a shambles. We will ultimately want to bring a forward into the building to supplement the likes of Charlie Caton, Cole Hall, Connor Evans. Thought Adam Thomas was absolutely top drawer on Saturday when he came off the bench. Very important player for us, player I think a lot of, that I want fit and playing all the time. We've got more options than I think we get credit for, but yeah, we would want to add another forward player of a particular profile, not necessarily a younger one, someone a little bit older, a bit more experienced. That's not age, that's games, because you've seen we've done really well with the loans we brought in with Sparrow, Evans, Maguire. I think they've really, really contributed. I think you saw that from Tom Sparrow on Saturday, it was terrific. So to bring a forward in of that profile, experience, goals, games played, perhaps a physical profile, but would you believe they don't grow on trees, and as and when they become available, we are in a place now where we'll do that business because we've been able to do that with Zach. But look, wish Zach all the best. I know he'll do really well, really talented player and a really likeable lad, but ultimately it's just not played out. That's football. I'm not going to pretend recruitment's perfect all the time, but I certainly think we've got more ticks than crosses in those boxes.